What's going on YouTube? This is Rybo back at the fake bench today, and today I have another cut or carry knife review. Today looking at the Spyderco Manix 2. Now, this version of the Manix 2 is a special sprint run in Rex 45. I, personally don't really do one-off reviews of different steel versions and that kind of thing. So this is really just a Manix 2 review. This is the one that I have wanted, so I've kind of waited to pick up a Manix 2 for a while until I found the perfect one. I really wanted Rex 45 steel for a couple reasons. And so really this is a Manix 2 review. It's just in this fun combination. So let's do some size comparisons really quick. So you have your PM2, which is probably the closest size comparison that I have personally in my collection, and probably a good head-to-head coming soon. And then you have the Spidey Chef here, which is another good size comparison. And then just for fun to get a feel for the size, this is the Chaparral FRN, or the FRN Chaparral, whatever. Okay, so hopefully you get an idea that this is a fairly large knife, not unwieldy, but it's a full size and I think really good size knife. This is also not the lightweight version of the Manix 2, which I hope to review soon. This is the full G10 and full liner version. Manix 2 has the ball bearing lock with the plastic cage here. So you can see that. I did review a ball bearing lock on the Dodo a while back, and I found it very cool, but very difficult to open and close, or not to open, very difficult to close. Just getting your fingers in there. So the cage really helps that, and so I really like that. Other things, I mentioned G10 already, Rex 45 on this version, and it's got the classic spoon clip here. So let's go ahead and jump into it. So things that I like about the Manix 2. Well, you can't talk about the Manix 2 without talking about ergonomics. That's kind of the big thing about the Manix 2, and I totally agree. The ergonomics on this knife are really incredible. I got to check one of these out a while back, not the Rex 45 version, but a different one. And ergonomics, the first time I held it in my hand, I said, yep, I will own a Manix 2 very soon. The ergos are really good. This whole approach of putting these deep finger choils and kind of telling your hand where to go can really backfire if it's not done very well. Spyderco does it very well, very often. The Manix 2 is no exception. I think one of the other things that I really like about the ergonomics is that full grip. You have the G10, the double liners, a little bit thicker of a knife than maybe you're used to with some of the lightweight series, but I think all of that makes this a very comfortable knife in the hand. Ample room. I find it just as, if not more comfortable to grip back here as I do to choke up. This is almost, almost more comfortable and more natural for me. But it's very rare that you get a knife where both the choke up grip here and gripping back here are equally as comfortable, and my hand tends to fall and my thumb tends to fall in the right place. So I think very good job on the ergonomics of this knife. I think that's what really sings with the Manix 2. Other things that I like about this knife, I like the ball bearing lock a lot. Now, I will say, and I'll probably, if I can remember, mention this in the things I dislike, but it is a little bit difficult I don't know, the spring tension's a little bit hard. I don't know if that's going to loosen up over time, so it's a little bit difficult, but I really like the ball bearing lock for a number of reasons. First of all, similar to the compression lock here, you get to drop the knife with your hand out of the way. Compression lock is a lot easier to use, I think, but you get a really strong feel for this knife. The lock feels very strong, and indeed I think that this is one of the strongest lock systems that's out there. So a lot of confidence. It opens up in a very satisfying way. Feels really good. I know this sounds weird, but like the opening sounds really good. But I really like the lock for a lot of reasons. And I find just all around it's a really good one, and I'm very happy to have it in the collection. Other things that I like about this knife, I really like the G10. So I've mentioned this with the Para 2 pair of two, the PM2. But I think that this G10 that they're using is just about perfect in terms of being aggressive texture, but not overly so. It's not a pocket killer, but it is something that allows you to get a really good grip on the knife, good purchase, feels good in the hands. And I think, I am not an orange fan in general, but I think this burnt orange looks really, really excellent. And with the Rex 45 being carbon steel and with my living in the South, sweatiness, it will absolutely develop some patina fairly quickly. I think this knife is going to be a very, very good looking knife. And so I really like the G10 version of a lot of these full-size Spydercos. Other things that I like the blade shape. Obviously, I mean it's almost not worth mentioning with Spyderco because they're all these kind of leaf style. This one's a little bit different from something like the PM2 where you have a little bit thinner down here. This is more of a leaf style, kind of like the Chaparral. And that's actually, I like that a lot better. The PM2, the Delica all have that, skinnier point. This is more of the leaf style, and I like the wider belly back here a little bit more and kind of, wider down here as well. But that's personal preference. Other things that I like, I really like the jimping. I think that the jimping is almost perfect back here. It's aggressive without being uncomfortable, but I think that's really nice. Same with the finger choil down here. I think that's really, really good. And then things that I like, I classically am not a fan of the spoon clip as much. I do think it works really well in this knife. I don't know what it is. I kind of agree on the PM2 that I don't know that a wire clip is really going to work on something like this. And so I actually kind of like the spoon clip on this knife. We'll see how it holds up. I've had issues with them bending out, but we'll see how it holds up. Other things that I like the lanyard tube here, just a nice little detail. Not that I plan to use a lanyard on it, but I always like when it has the tube, just a, I don't know, sign of quality. Just makes it look a little bit nicer. And what else? I like the back jimping here. It's a little bit aggressive, maybe, but I actually like that detail a lot. Again, I like knives that allow me to get a good grip, and so I do really like that. All right, have I covered everything? I like that it's a Spyderco. I'm a big Spyderco fan, so that's a plus. All right, things that I don't like. There's, I think, only a couple. So one of the things I mentioned before, but the ball bearing lock is excellent. I do have a little bit of trouble disengaging it for two reasons. Number one, the spring tensions is pretty high, and so it does take a decent bit of effort to pull it down, but once you do it, it does drop shut. And really, I think the reason it takes a little bit more effort to pull that ball bearing lock down is because I can't get a great grip down here on the tail of the knife in order to do that. And the reason for that is where the pocket clip is placed. So when I'm trying to grip onto the knife, I only have this little bit of space to put my fingers, and it's pretty tight. And so I don't, it kind of jams into my finger here, and I just can't really get a great grip on it. So that is my first issue. And tying into that issue, I think the pocket clip placement on the Manix 2 full size is incorrect. I think it's poor placement for two reasons. Number one, what I just mentioned, you don't have enough room here to get fingers on to get good purchase in order to close with the lock. Number two, when you have this in the pocket, the top of this pocket clip is coming, your pocket is here, right? So the only remaining part of the knife is where the pocket clip is fastened. And what I have found is that is a very awkward place for me to pull. You have grip back here where you can get good purchase, and some people have said like their hand does fall very nicely right there. For me, it's just not enough room. If you look at something like the PM2, you have a little bit more to grab onto. You have this area over here, and I have a much easier time pulling this out of the pocket than I do with the Manix 2. I just don't have a ton of room here to pull. And so for that reason, for those two reasons, I think that the pocket clip is just misplaced. it needs to be further down. I think you can move the lanyard tube or just remove it, but you can move the pocket clip even down alongside the lanyard tube, really carry it a little bit higher in the pocket, and personally I don't think that would be an issue, but maybe there's reasons for that. So that's really my big issue with the knife. Other than that, I love this knife. I think it's a strong carry. I think the Manix 2 is an excellent knife, very ergonomic, larger knife, harder use, but definitely one that's going to stay in my collection. Hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time.